All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. The Harmless One here. My name is Dave, and yeah, I'm the real music observer. That's who I am. And this is my channel. And of course, we're talking about real music in real time for real people just like you, just like me, too. Um, Michael Sweet, this dude from Striper, he's talking about producing a Van Halen album. It's all hypothetical. It's an article I read in blabbermouth.net. But it's one of these, if I were in charge, this is what I'd do. I'd make them sound like they used to sound on Women and Children First. Well, first of all, Michael, um, Striper is not a band you think of when you think of a mainstream rock radio band. In fact, I went back and I was checking. This is a book that I have in my library, and it's really cool because it helps me remember things that I forget. And on the mainstream rock charts, I'm looking for Striper. When did Striper have a hit song? They go from what, Stray Cats to Streets. So Streets was on the mainstream rock charts. Steve Walsh, Stray Cats, Brian Setzer. Striper, not so much. We used to have this show at the college station, heavy metal show, and we used to play Striper. It's the only place they got airplay. I never understood the bumblebee leotard, attire. I didn't get it. I knew this was a Christian band. I consider myself a Christian, but I was never compelled to become a Christian because of Striper, and at the time I had no interest in Christianity. I knew they were Christian. Their lyrics kind of squeaky clean, although last year they tried to market this album called GD Evil. That's God, and then the next word I'm not going to say next to God, but that word is damn, and then the word evil. And Walmart, I guess, didn't want to carry the album. It's pretty bad when Walmart won't carry a Christian album. And the label Frontiers, they're all like, good, this is negative publicity, this is good. And they put out some statements and saying, yeah, this is more, more reason to get the album. And then trying to explain why they called the album that, it's like, well, it's because we're damning this evil because it's bad and we want God to do it too. Well, I don't think you have to ask God to do it. You know what I'm saying? It was just a weird title for a record. It was needlessly provocative, we'll say that. And again, I know they've probably sold millions of albums. Not sure what their album sales are, but it's all real gimmicky stuff. And I never got into it. And I could be all alone on this, like I said. But, and I know this guy was kind of helpful in getting Boston, the band, kick-started again after the untimely death of Brad Delp. I believe they turned to Michael Sweet originally to sing lead vocals. Eventually, Tommy DiCarlo would come in and pretty much blow everybody else away. But I'm just thinking to myself, I mean, why is this guy interested in helping Van Halen succeed when they haven't had the kind of success? He was critical of, the last Van Halen album, A Different Kind of Truth. Why wouldn't you call up like a Ron Nevison or a Ted Templeman or, a producer who has worked with the band or somebody who's old school and who could bring that sound back? I mean, I will agree he did say, yeah, we need to have the band sound like, Women and Children First. The problem is I don't think, Michael Sweet is the guy. And then he's talking about if they want me to sing lead vocals. It's like, dude, I don't think the band is going to do this again. I mean, they could have and probably should have done it with Mitch Malloy instead of Gary Cherone. And Mitch right now, fronting Great White, has brought that band kind of back from the dead. And Mitch, even though I've heard he's a little bit weird and wired in a different way, I think he's a good singer. He's a good front man. He knows how to front a band like that. Um, Michael Sweet singing for Van Halen. Imagine Michael Sweet singing "Running with the Devil." Go on, Michael. You got to sing "Running with the Devil." Nope. I'll sing GD Evil, but I won't sing. This is what I mean. I mean, the whole thing is just really gimmicky. Um, and it's interesting. He's telling about his love for Van Halen and so forth, and I'm not sure he's the right guy to produce and sing on the next Van Halen album. Maybe he's putting it out there that he's ready and available. I know Stryper, look, they have a big following. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they're not popular. I just don't get them. And that whole thing with the album at Walmart that couldn't be sold at Walmart. If you want to spread your message, you should be able to get your album as a Christian band. You think you'd be able to get your album into Walmart. That's really unusual. With all the crap that they let into Walmart, you think they could get this album in there. So the whole thing sort of rubs me the wrong way, and I don't know, this guy just, I've never met him in person. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I've heard, through the grapevine that he's a nice guy, but he seems a little presumptuous here, and this task, I think, is a little out of his league. Again, showing up, this is my book, Rock Tracks. A few years ago, I got this book. It's a Billboard thing, and Stryper is nowhere to be found. So I think I'd want a band that had a little more mainstream success than Stryper, helping out with anything that's Van Halen oriented. And right now it doesn't look, maybe he's thinking that, Van Halen's looking for a singer, this and that. I haven't heard that, and I think it's going to be Dave or bust, I think it's so Dave or bust that the band is just willing to kind of, go off into the sunset and not play or record anything, at least for the time being. But interesting article over on blabbermouth.net. You can disagree with me. I expect there'll be lots of disagreement. But this is what I do. I make videos, and sometimes they only make sense to me. So talk to you soon.